This is a Mets Willets Point bound 7 local train. The next and last stop is Mets Willets Point.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
Hey Mets fans, thanks for tuning in and welcome to another episode of Rants from the Third Rail. I'm your host, Chente Camacho Jr. Before we get started, guys, please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. Go ahead and click that little button down there. And also click the bell on the end of it to receive alerts for when I drop new videos. Now to jump right into things, guys. Welcome. This is the first one actually sitting down here in High Point, North Carolina, since I've set up my little area. So you can see I got a few bobbleheads behind me, some pictures of myself with Mr. Met, and I have some negative space too. Like I want to place a picture there, and I have the picture for there. The pictures, one is from 2015 with my wife and I when we went to a Mets game. I have a cool story. As soon as I'll put it up, I'll tell you guys a story about that. But the picture right above me that I want to put is of the greatest outfield ever assembled in an All-Star game. If you guys would like to take guesses as to who the trio is, please feel free. I look forward to seeing in the comments who you guys think it is that I'm going to put a picture of up there. And then also too, with a little somberness, I got to say rest in peace to my dad. He passed away January 22nd, 2014. His remains are right here, right behind me in this Mets urn. We were going to put him in a beautiful ceramic urn. We saw some nice ones, and then for my birthday, my wife surprised me with that beauty. I mean, I couldn't have been happier. I'm pretty sure he's thrilled to be in a Mets urn if there was an excitement over it. But, yeah, when it's, my time, I would also like to be in one of those. But, I'm here now sharing my stories and my baseball knowledge, whatever little I do have, because I am a student of the game. I've loved this game since I was 4 years old when I first laced them up and got on that field with the Picapiedras team in Puerto Rico. It's been a love affair ever since with baseball. It's my favorite sport. Before I'm a Mets fan, I am a baseball fan first and foremost. Although I do love our Mets, let's not get it twisted. And before we get into some of the main topics that I'm going to touch on today, which most of them are going to be about, I want to talk about Marcus Stroman and his positivity and effect, and also the trolls that follow him and look to be blocked by him on Twitter and all the other social media feeds, which is kind of ridiculous. Then I want to touch on Jacob deGrom's start yesterday and Garrett Cole's start yesterday, comparing the aces of the city, 1 and 2 respectively. Of course, number 1, we know who that is. And then I also want to touch up on a couple of stories that I have. The first one is the story behind this photo right here with myself and Mr. Met. That photo was taken on the final weekend of the 2015 season. We all know that season was incredible. We acquired Yoenis Cespedes. They made a fantastic documentary based on the trade deadline called 5 Days in Flushing, which I've come to be very fond of. It's a great video. It gives an explanation as to how the Mets were at a precipice. They were either about to fall off a cliff or go into ascension. And we traded for Cespedes, and you guys know the rest. Well, that is the final weekend of that season when the Washington Nationals came into town. Originally, my wife, sister-in-law, brother-in-law, and myself, we bought tickets to go to this promotion for Oktoberfest where they give you a Stein and 2 beers to enjoy the game as well. So the game was originally slated for that Friday night, and it got rained out. It was super cold. It was rainy, so they billed it the next day for a day-night doubleheader. That day-night doubleheader, we got the first leg, which was the makeup for the Oktoberfest promotion. So we get there, and it's freezing cold. I'm the only one dressed appropriately in the group. Actually, my wife and I were the only ones dressed appropriately. Everyone else was, they weren't dressed to be by the stadium. Apparently, they didn't know that It was in the Bay. But it was cold that day, and Mr. Met saw me from afar. We were eating Shake Shack, and he saw me from afar, and he just darted towards me. He started walking towards me, and my wife was like, Mr. Met is coming towards you. And I look up, and the people that work with Mr. Met, that take him to the different sections of the ballpark, they're like, Mr. Met, we have to go, Mr. Met, please. Like, we have to go this way. And he just, like, completely ignored him. And he's pointing at me, like, just pointing at me. And then I'm, like, confused as to why he's pointing at me. And then he motions at my jacket. That was a pretty cool jacket. It was my favorite Mets jacket for a while. It was like a replica of the road jersey with blue sleeves. It was a beautiful jacket. It caught some mean stains at the game one day, and I had to throw it out. But he came over, gave me that, pounded me, and we took that photo right there, much to the dismay of the staff members that handle Mr. Met and take him to each location wherever he goes throughout the stadium. So that was pretty cool. That was pretty fun. I'm a huge fan of Mr. Met. Always have been since my first game in 1982. Didn't really get to see him in 82, but I've always seen the images of him on shirts, pennants, hats, and what have you. But yeah, that was cool. But that's not the end of that story. That story then takes us to the stands. We were sitting in the left field stands, left center, over there. I'm not too familiar with that section because I'm more of a first base guy. Like I like that side of the field. I like that side of the field. Excuse me. So we make our way to our seats. We were in the left field stands, which was where the promotion seats were placed. And we're there, and Bryce Harper was playing left that day for some reason. But he was out there and left. And then the bottom of the third inning, I remember correctly, one of the Mets hit a pop-up deep one and took him to the warning track, and he caught it for the third out. Bryce Harper made the put out for the third out. He turns around as he's going to throw the ball to us in the crowd, and he does one of those, tucks it, and just runs back to the dugout. So I turn into the crowd, and I'm like, guys, when he comes back out, we're going to give this dude the business. He was antagonizing us. This dude, Bryce Harper, he tries to act like he doesn't do anything, but he started this day with us. He brought this upon himself. So when he comes out the next half inning, when it's the Mets' turn to bat again, he knows he's going to get it, so we start booing him immediately. The boos start coming from left field, literally, because that's where we're sitting, in left field. So the boos are coming. We're raining boos on him. Our section is just booing him. So he turns over to us thinking he was cool, and he decided to do one of them waves, like, come on, bring it. So you don't do that to us. We're Mets fans. We're pretty smart, pretty shrewd, so I took that personally at that moment. And the first thing that came to mind was a few weeks before that game, the dust-up he and Jonathan Papelbon had in the dugout when Bryce Harper didn't want to bust out that ground ball he hit. They got into a little shouting match in the dugout, and the rest is history. Papelbon put his hands on him, and I commenced the Jonathan Papelbon. That's the chant I started. I didn't think it was going to do anything at the moment. I was just trying to be a jerk. All of a sudden, it caught steam. Our section was saying it. Then the section next to our section was saying it. Then the next thing I knew, what felt like the whole stadium was saying it. It was incredible. It was in unison. Jonathan Papelbon chant was crazy. I never thought I'd hear Citi Field cheer for another team's player, especially a Nationals player. But when it comes to beating the crap out of Bryce Harper, it's okay because he antagonized us. He started it with the baseball the whole time when he faked to throw it at us and took off to the dugout. And then when he waved us up to egg us on as to, yeah, bring it, we brought it. And what he did, he put his head down and shook it in disbelief and could not believe that Mets fans struck again. And that's the story with that pick right there. It was a pretty fun day. And, the Mets lost the 2 games, and Scherzer actually threw a no-hitter in the second game in the nightcap of that doubleheader. It was a rough weekend, and we knew what happened following that. The playoff run we made was incredible. The way we took on the Dodgers and Cubs, and we made that run into the World Series. We fell short. Some bad issues happened. Some things happened. We can't control those things. And, we're still Mets fans. And to this day, we can't not stop liking this team. I love this team. This is my Mets. I've been a Mets fan since 1982. I love these guys. You guys love these guys. Well, Let's go. The frustration of Mets fans is at an all-time high during spring training. I've never seen anything like this. People are going wild. People are losing their shit. Literally, like, y'all are out here, like, attacking everyone. Players, coaches, fans, other team fans. I mean, it's kind of crazy how the fan base is acting, especially given the Wilpon sold the team, and now they just want everything to fall into place right away, not understanding that this is a process. And I get it. We're frustrated. It's been a roller coaster ride of emotions since 2014 when, Jacob deGrom came up and he won the Rookie of the Year. And then a year later, we're in the World Series. Then the year after that, 16, we almost make it back into the wild card round, but we lose in the play-in game. And then 2017, expectations are at an all-time high. And what happens? Just like 30 years before, in 1987, the injuries hit. And what happens? We know what happens. We didn't do anything. 2018, a little bit of the same, some hope. 2019, we look good. The team responds. We put together a nice little nucleus. We got some youth. We have some veteran leadership. Still missing a couple of pieces. Then last season, we all know, the world was put on its ear with COVID-19. And then in November, the Wilpon sold. And Cohen took over. But the fans are still not happy. I don't know what it is that we need to do. And boom! Francisco Lindor, Carrasco, Trevor May, Loop. Bringing guys in, trying to do things. But the fan base is still not happy. The fan base, they want to win now. And as much as I want to win now, I do want to win now. I would love to win a World Series this year. But what I would like for the team to do is build a franchise that is going to be stable for years to come. A franchise that is going to be winning or be in contention each year. I don't want to be in contention 1 year and then be out of contention for 5 years because we make deals that handcuff us. We have a good nucleus coming up through the farm system. The kids that we saw during spring look great. Unfortunately, they've been sent down again because it's the growing pains. They're young kids. But when their time comes, they are going to help this franchise. We need to pump our down and let the team work. We're not even out of spring training yet, and people want the world. We have to chill. Y'all are just bugging the hell out. The impending free agency of Michael Conforto and Francisco Lindor. Michael Conforto, I'm a little more nervous about re-signing Conforto. Not that I don't want him. I want Conforto. I want Conforto on this team. He is a cornerstone piece of this team. He is a draft pick. He's one of those core foundation guys that we've had in 2015. You saw what he did as a rookie. You know, we've grown to love him. I think he's a very good ball player. The kid has pretty good skills. The only worry is his representation, Scott Boras. He loves to test the waters of free agency. Hopefully, you know, we can get this kid to sign with us and to stay here. And Francisco Lindor as well. But Francisco Lindor, I am very confident in. Francisco Lindor understands the New York market. Francisco Lindor is a little, how do I say it? He's a little more excited to be here in New York. I think he understands that he can make some more money here on top of his baseball money. That he doesn't have to touch his baseball money and he can just mess with his endorsements. And he stands to make a lot of money here on endorsements because he's a really likable guy. You know, he's marketable, young, good looking, he's fit, you know, and he's a Hispanic. He's a Latino in a city full of Latinos. So he right away, he's a draw. He's a draw to the stadium. He brings people to the games. He's a top 5 player in Major League Baseball, I believe. They have him rated, I think it's the 3rd or 4th best shortstop in baseball. I think he's a little higher than that, honestly. We're going to see Francisco Lindor play for 162 games, and that's exciting. But at the same time, I want to see him get extended. I want to see Conforto get extended. We need those two pieces in order for the Mets to be good for a very, very long time. If you sit here and think that we're going to sign one and let one walk and be better off. That's not the case at all. This is where we're going to need to test Mr. Cohen's pockets, and he needs to dig deep and pay and shell out some cash for these two guys because it's going to cost him a pretty penny. The Tatis Jr. deal does not help the Mets in negotiations at all. We have a guy in Lindor that's been in the World Series. He's a multiple-time All-Star. He's hit over 300. He has power from both sides of the plate, speed. He can throw. He plays tremendous defense up the middle at short. I mean, this guy's a generational talent. And like others have said, he can be the best all-around player the Mets have had since Carlos Beltran. And I'm excited at that. But Michael Conforto, I do not want to get rid of him. I don't want him to go anywhere. He needs to be signed as well. We could use that lefty bat in the lineup. And, I like the kid. Scooter's a good kid overall. He's a good dude. My biggest concern is how the Mets are handling this, how they're entering these negotiations with these players, as they have both. Them and their representation teams have made it clear to the Mets they will not negotiate after spring training is over and the season has started. So we have a few weeks. We have a couple weeks left until April 1st. I'm confident that they're going to get something done. I'm not going crazy about it. I'm not going to lose myself over it. I'll lose myself over it if we don't sign either one of them and the season starts. That's for sure. On my second to last topic, and this one is the one, it upsets me the most because, like I said, I grew up playing baseball, not professionally. I'm not a pro. But I do love this game. I do love the game of baseball. Before I became a Mets fan, I love baseball, as I've said numerous times. This game means everything to me. I love the strategy part of it. I love the camaraderie. I love being on the field with another 8 guys. The smell of the leather glove, the sound of baseball makes hitting the bat, the cracking of the wood, that wood burn smell when you make good contact. Those are things that attract the smell of the field, having dirt on my uniform. Those are things I love. And I actually just started playing baseball again. I just signed up for an adult league, an over 35 league here in North Carolina. I have tryouts and the draft is next week. Super excited about that. Yeah, I'll be playing some first base. I played first base for a while. I'm super hyped about it. But what I want to talk about is the celebration after that 27-out drill the Mets made a couple days ago that everyone jumped down their throats for. First and foremost, shame on the person. Shame on you. Whoever filmed that celebration after that drill, that 27-out drill, that's not an easy drill. First and foremost, if you want to know what the 27-out drill is, Google it. I'm not going to sit here and explain it to you because I'm not here to coach you. Okay, I coach people on a one-on-one basis or on a physical basis. I'm not going to tell you what the 27-out drill entails and what it consists of and why the guys are celebrating the way they did. They're opening channels of positive energy. When you're building a team, you want to build camaraderie. You want to build chemistry. You want to build a brotherhood. And that celebration was just that. They were bonding. Yeah, I mean, was it unnecessary to some? Yeah, it could have been unnecessary to some. But for people that understand the team concept and team sports and team building, that was beautiful. What I saw was nothing short of amazing. It reminded me of what I saw the week prior when J.D. Davis was taking ground balls and, what's his name? Francisco Lindor was just standing there watching him and giving him tips on how to release the ball and where his trajectory, his arm angle should be when he's letting go of the ball. Because as we know, he has that little pump issue, does J.D. Davis, when he's throwing the ball over. And that causes the ball to tail away from the first baseman. Other than that, we need to just pump our brakes a little bit the way we judge people, because playing team sports is a beautiful thing. If you want an individual sport, go play tennis, go box. All right, that's individual sports. Tennis players and boxers are cut from a different cloth, especially boxers. You go in there set up to take 12 rounds of abuse. You best be ready. Individual sports and team sports are two different things. To build unity, you need to do these drills. You need to have these kind of things. And to jump off to jump off sports, to jump into basketball, as a kid at the boys club, Coach Casado, the boys club's basketball coach, he occasionally would let me practice with the team every now and then when I wanted to stay fit and learn a little more about the game because I love basketball as well. I'm a huge Knicks fan. But Coach had this thing that when he held practice and practice was over, in order for you to leave the gym, you owe Coach Casado 10 free throws before you left. And when it came to my turn, everyone was done. I was the last guy going. When it came to my turn and I finished those 10 free throws, that basketball team came around me like they won the championship, like they won the Boys Club championship. So I could see where team building comes from, the camaraderie that those drills build. And for people to disparage them, some of you guys have never played, team sports, organized sports before. You know, a dodgeball doesn't count, kickball doesn't count. You know, you have to sit on the bench and you have to be part of a team to understand what a brotherhood or a sisterhood is, because those softball players, those ladies get busy too. And everybody here is just like talking like they did something wrong. No, it was a beautiful thing, and that celebration, I adored it. I wish they would do it more, but I wish they would show it less. People at SNY need to be ashamed of themselves for playing that. That's completely wrong. Did any of you guys catch that performance by Jacob deGrom yesterday? What a masterful pitching performance. 3 innings pitched, 0 hits, 0 walks, 0 earned runs, and 7 strikeouts. What a dominant performance. If that man isn't in mid-season form, I don't know what mid-season form is. And then on the other side, the Yankees ace, Garrett Cole, he also pitched for a few innings, but he got hit a little bit. Well, not really a little bit. He gave up 1 run, but I think he had 5 Ks. He looked pretty good as well. But we can see clearly who the better of the 2 pitchers is, and it's Jacob deGrom, and it's not even close. And that's no disrespect to Garrett Cole. Garrett Cole's incredibly talented. He is one of the best pitchers in baseball. He's the 2nd best pitcher in baseball behind Jacob deGrom. But deGrom's performance yesterday was great, fantastic. And then today we had Marcus Stroman pitch, and he gave up 1 run, but he also looked good. He struck out 5, and I think he gave up like maybe 1 or 2 hits. I'm not sure what his line looked like, but he looked good. He bounced back from his 2nd start, which he gave up a couple walks and a couple runs. But Stroman is good. We're going to be all right. We're going to be all right. I like Marcus Stroman. Some of y'all don't like Stroman, and some of y'all troll Stroman because he's positive and he doesn't answer to you guys. I mean, you really expect him to answer y'all? It's crazy. He's got to answer to everybody if he's going to answer to one person. And if he does answer to one person, maybe they resonate with what he feels. You know what I'm saying? You can't sit here and expect him to follow you, or expect him to like you, or expect him to share anything that you post or you tweet. I mean, these men have lives. These men have feelings. And these people are out here, like, harassing them. I saw on Twitter, some dude is like, oh, anyone else get blocked by Stroman? Raise your hand proudly. Like, why would you want to raise your hand proudly about that? Like, what's cool about being blocked by an athlete that plays for the team that you cheer for? How asinine is that? That makes no sense. A lot of y'all Mets fans, you know, for this being a smart fan base, I keep saying this, man. Some of y'all just, like, fly off the handles with shit. And you take things too personally and act like Robert De Niro in The Fan. That's pretty scary. I can see why some of the players don't want to interact with us. Some of us are crazy. You guys be wilding out here, like, really, like, glorifying the fact that an athlete banned you from commenting on any of their social media posts. I mean, like if you don't have anything better to do with your life, it's kind of sad. You know, enjoy the team. If they're not good, okay, they're not good. I mean, this fan base has had its share of heartaches. We have. We know what it's like. But remember, there are fan bases that have never won. There are fan bases that suffer on a yearly basis and never make it out of that basement. And if they do make it out that basement, they go up 2 spots and don't make it to the playoffs. I mean, don't get me wrong. You know what it is? It's having the Yankees over there. That's what bothers y'all. And a lot of y'all have to remember the New York Yankees started on the original Major League Baseball as the New York Highlanders. Okay, the New York Yankees have been out for over 100 years. The Mets have been out since 1962. So there's no comparison. This is a New York Yankee town. Even when the Dodgers and Giants were here, this was a Yankees town. Who do you think the Yankees beat almost every year to win these World Series? If it wasn't the Cardinals, it was the Dodgers and the Giants. Okay? Like, What do you guys have your panties in? They beat us one time in 2000 in the World Series, okay? And that's because we were grossly outmanaged. The same reason we lost in 2015 World Series, we were outmanaged. The same thing we lost in 2000. Joe Torre outmanaged Bobby Valentine. And on paper, statistically, that 2000 Mets team was better. But it's a game of strategy. That's what it tells you. The best players aren't always gonna win. That usually happens in sports like basketball. Like when you have the most talented players on the floor, that usually works out. But in baseball, it's a little bit different. You use strategy. Whoever's hot, whoever's the guy that's hitting, that stuff is contagious. That stuff spreads through teams that have chemistry. A lot of y'all don't understand any of that stuff. And it frustrates me. Why does it frustrate me? Because you people get personal and you people attack these players on a very personal level. Like I said, these are human beings and y'all treat them like they're robots. No, they're just very good. They're born with a genetic makeup that has given them the mind state to go out there and work while we're sleeping. They're out there working on their craft, okay, because they take their jobs very serious. And to hold that as a badge of honor that you've been blocked by Marcus Stroman is ridiculous. And you need to grow up. With that being said, this is our team. We are Mets fans. Let's respect these players. Let's respect this team because this team is going to give us a lot to smile about. This team is going to give us a lot to cheer for. And on that note, y'all, peace and love. Hashtag LFGM all day. Thank you for tuning in, guys, to another episode of Rants from the Third Rail. Again, I'm Chente Camacho Jr. Peace and love. Let's go Mets.